I get the feeling you guys might be reviewing the champagne celebrations here at the Vodafone Gold Coast 600. Well done to the Red Bull Holden Racing team on the perfect weekend. We'll start with Shane, and let's start at the finish, shall we? Work our way back. What's inspired the champagne celebration? Give us the story, because
I just seen, I think it was Chris Mees do it on Instagram. So, yeah, done it at Bathurst, and then everyone's done it this weekend. It's pretty funny.
I'm all for tradition. Is this a new tradition that we've got now?
Oh, everyone's copied it. I have to do something else.
How'd you rate the skid at the end of the day?
Oh, it's all right. We're a bit limited for motors nowadays, and then next year even worse. So, trying to behave and then put on a good show is a fine line. But yeah, it's good fun. Awesome to do one again, and just stoked. 2 victories for the team in a weekend. 2 1-2s. Doesn't get much better.
Teams Championship is magically back on.
Yeah.
Not impossible that you guys might be able to chase down the Shell cars and win that. Is that maybe a goal for the rest of the year?
Yeah, that was certainly the motivation behind the team orders both days, or just managing our pace and not racing yesterday. We've got to get maximum points and try and get them back. And unfortunate for Scotty today and their team, but we capitalised on it. So, yeah, certainly that's something that we're going to focus on the next few races.
All right, well done today, mate.
Thanks.
And good sportsmanship shown all round as well. Let's go over to GT. And I asked Lounsey yesterday, does winning feel the same? Different environment, location for you. Does winning feel the same?
Yeah, it does, because it's been a little while. It was actually 2016 Sandown when old mate was chasing me when the front guard was falling off my car. So it's been a few years, and I knew when I joined the Red Bull Holden Racing team that every race we went to, we were a chance to be on the podium and win races. And it's been fantastic to be second at Bathurst, second yesterday, first today, and be part of the team this weekend with 2 1-2s, to have both cars on the front row today. Just to be part of that in a small way has been fantastic.
Just enjoying your role as a co-driver as well? Does it feel like there's less pressure there?
No, it's not, because you want to make sure you do what your job is, your role, particularly in that first stint here. And that's not to drive the car as fast as it can go. It's to make sure you give the car to the primary drivers as best as you can, because the Gold Coast is so hard on the cars that you want to make sure that the car's as straight as it can be before they jump in and do their thing. So I'd be lying if I said it was enjoyable sitting there watching at the end of the race. You're so used to being in there and being part of it and driving the car, but I'm sliding into it as we go. Well done. Welcome back to Victory Lane. Let's go to Jamie. And on the other side of the 1-2 today, you probably had the pace to get Shane. Shane probably had the pace to get you yesterday, and ended up holding station for the maximum points. So well done today, and talk us through your weekend.
Yeah, just following on from what Shane said, with respect to car 55 and 17 that weren't out there today, we worked bloody hard and maximised both days with a 1-2. So no, we were happy. Lounsey got off the line well. Give Garth a run for his money down into turn 1, and apart from that, yeah, it was fairly straightforward race.
Teams Championship, very much a thing here that you guys can fight for. It'd be pretty impressive to win that, given the early speed that the Mustang had at the beginning of the year.
Oh, once again, we're not jumping to conclusions, and we're not, we've got respect for what happened to car 17 this weekend. So while the championship is about who's the most consistent over the whole year, we'll keep chipping away, and still plenty of points up for grabs, and we'll grind it out right to the last lap of the last race.
Lounsey, you've been a part of this team for a long time. Have you seen Red Bull have a much better weekend than what you guys were able to put on this weekend?
No, I just think that it is a great weekend for us in the sense of the team, and as Jamie and Shane have said, I've sat on the sidelines and watched them grind away all year, and it's nice to be part of this weekend. I'm not saying that it's going to continue in the sense, but it's great to be part of it. It's something that the team, as Jamie said, have been working extremely hard back at the workshop, like I'm sure like no other team, or like all the other teams. So just great to be part of this successful weekend.
All right, well done on playing your part. Another great drive in your first stint here today. Dave, how's the voice holding up? Should we bother?
I'll give it a go.
Jeez.
Don't laugh at me. I'll knock us all out.
Tough weekend for you guys. It's been a tough couple around for you guys, so that's a good result.
Yeah, it's really good. I don't laugh.
Turning us on, Dave.
Hey?
Turning us all on.
No, I'm not. This is legitimately trying to speak.
Do you want me to ask Luke a question instead?
Maybe just give it.
Good idea. All right, let's go to Luke, shall we? Good effort, Dave.
Yeah.
You tried your hardest. Luke, you also put in a really good first stint today. It must have felt good to get that one out.
Yeah, I really need it, to be honest. Obviously, confidence took a bit of a battering at Bathurst and also yesterday. I feel like I'm driving okay, but just things haven't gone too well for me. So to get that under my belt, I just had Barry's sort of voice in my head the whole race, no curb strikes, and just tried to keep it clean. And I could go faster, but I just tried to do my best to not make any mistakes, I guess. I just needed a mistake-free run. Obviously, we're in a great position. I was never going to sort of stick with those two boys in front of me. Sort of a little bit unfair. I've never had a main game start other than the Enduros, and these boys are obviously multiple champions and Bathurst winners. So to be able to sort of bring it back in third behind those two boys, set it up for Dave. Obviously had really good pace at the end. Probably arguably had similar or better pace than the two boys there in front. So it's credit to the team to turn things around from the last couple of rounds.
Credit to you too. I mean, last night I walked past you in the garage on the way to the podium celebration. Shannon was patting you on the back, almost consoling you. Can you give us an insight into what was running through your mind at the end of yesterday's race?
Just too many mistakes, you know what I mean? Just don't normally sort of make those sort of mistakes. Usually try and be, as Garth mentioned, just you try not to attack as much as you can and try and bring the car back obviously straight, and then just obviously batter in curbs and just sort of obviously damage the splitter, and that just ruined our race. So to be able to just do a clean race is exactly what I needed, and we managed to get it done.
All right, well done to all six of you. Thank you, Dave, for the words there. Let's get into the questions from the journalists.
Garth, you touched on it before that your last race win was coming first in front of Shane back at Sandown in 2016.
Yep.
You guys were fierce rivals for a good amount of time, but respectful at the same time. So what does it feel like to actually now have a win together?
Yeah, it's fantastic. Shane and I had spoken actually a couple of times in the past about if the opportunity ever arose that I'd end up in a co-driver role, that if we could do something together. So when it all came together, joining the team, being in Shane's car, yeah, it's fantastic. He was giving me a hard time this morning because he couldn't remember the last time that I started from pole position. So I reminded him that I beat him to pole in Homebush in 2016 as well. So we have a lot of fun together, a lot of banter, but it's just great to be part of the team.
Shane, you've had a few co-drivers over the past few years. How's this bloke rate?
Yeah, and for all been different reasons for the changes, but certainly the best, like Earl was really good, would have loved him back this year. He would have been much better again, but just the way Garth has made himself part of the team, come to so many races, all the testing and everything, and just entrenched himself in it all, and it's made a huge difference. And especially with Bathurst being the first race this year, there was so much pressure to get everything right. He'd come up from Melbourne just for one day for driver changes, and everything was seamless, so it's all you can ask for.
To the four Red Bull guys, and I guess specifically Jamie and Shane, in the closing laps there, you were nose to tail with Davey cruising up towards you. How tense was that, and how important were team orders at that point in terms of maintaining position and protecting one another?
Yeah, similar to yesterday, I think the second car was probably on the better strategy, certainly tyre-wise, and I was trying to keep enough pace so Jamie could manage the gap to Dave, but I didn't have much left at the end. But, you know, Jamie had the pace to defend if Dave got closer, so it was a little bit awkward in some ways, but I think we managed it okay.
Yeah, no more to add. We, yeah, as I say, I had slightly better tyres. It's hard to pass around this place as well. So, but obviously Dave and Luke had tuned the car up overnight, and they were pretty quick at the end there. So another 10 more laps, we might have been in trouble.
And just on the pace, the three Commodores up here this afternoon. First time we've not had a Mustang all year. Is the Commodore now on the pace of the Mustang? Is it even Stevens at the front, or is there still more to play out on that front?
No high-speed corners here, so it's hard to know.
Shane, you're still in contention theoretically for the championship, and the way it played out today was pretty unusual, weird circumstances. So
I think the focus now is the team championship. So
no, my question's more about how do you feel about the way it's evolved today, and what's your attitude towards that drivers' championship?
I don't really have any thoughts about that. More about Scotty and hopefully his well-being and all the guys there. There's a lot of ex-Stone Brothers guys there, and seeing them today, you know, their Bathurst winning car was now ready for the scrap heap. You know, it's pretty sad to see. And first thing I saw, a car on its side, and didn't know if it was Fabian or Scotty, but how far it was from the corner, I knew it was a huge shunt. So, yeah, you'd do that for anyone. Go and help them out. There was no one there when I stopped, and then the fireys were there pretty quick. But, yeah, as far as the championship goes, you know, you don't want to gain points like that, you know.
Shane, this one's for you, mate. Do you think that the Gold Coast 600 track, do you think the balance between risk and reward has fallen too far in one direction and it's now a dangerous track to race in?
I think it'd be better next year when the cars are back to normal standard. They're too fast now with the aero and stuff, and even when you're following lap cars, you can't follow through the chicanes. Like, you just lose too much downforce. So next year's changes hopefully bring it back a bit. But, you know, that's the way it is. These days, everyone's so close. You're trying to find those last tenth or two, and the margins are so fine between hitting the wall or not. So, and turn 11 was very hard in both races because of the build-up. You had to be so close to the fence. I think I'd nicked the left rear one lap. Like, it's because of the build-up, there was really fine margins there.
With the benefit of hindsight, do you think this race could have been made safer?
Oh, I think the race is plenty safe. Like, you saw some huge crashes and people walked away, you know, pretty much unharmed. Like, the work they've done of this car and the leg protection, everything they've done in the last few years, they've done a great job making it safe. And certainly I think the track's safe, that's for sure.
I was actually going to ask Jamie something similar there. You saw a couple of really high-speed shunts straight into concrete. Could there be more tyre bundles or anything like that, or is it just something that happens?
I think it's the nature of the. No, I was second what Shane said. The track's not unsafe. It's been the same for a long time, and anything that does happen track-wise, it gets improved on. We're just pushing the limits. That's what sport's all about, and the tougher the competition gets, the more you got to run close to the limit. If you don't want to crash, you can drive around the middle of the track and keep it safe. If you don't want to, if you don't want to get a hit on the footy field, don't run back and try to grab a mark. Just run around the outside. So no, it's the competition's causing the errors, and that's how fierce it is. But as Shane said, we've seen some big impacts this weekend, but everyone's walked away fine. Just
Sort of on the weekend for Red Bull as well. Has it been a frustrating year at all for you guys, and does this just prove how strong a team you really are?
It hasn't been frustrating. We've said for a long time that we look forward to the next big challenger, and it's come, and we understand that you can't stay at the top for 15 years. It's we've had some great battles with HRT, we've had some great battles with FPR back in the day, DJR with James Courtney. So over the years we've had some massive challenges, and now the DJR guys are throwing plenty at us at the moment. So they're by far they've got the quickest cars at the moment, and we're looking forward to grinding it out and trying to get back to the top again.
I might direct this more to Luke than Dave, but you guys have obviously been really strong in the Enduros, the last couple of years, and, as you've said, it's been a tough run this year, but to get some silverware also gets Dave back into the top 5 in the championship, but, hopefully get some momentum heading into Sandown, where you guys have also been pretty strong.
Yeah, absolutely. It's last year and the year before was an awesome run, really. Taking a bit of a battering this year, but I mean, obviously we've got a result at Bathurst, but it was more probably strategy than anything else. So it's fair to say morale in the team hasn't been that flash the last couple of rounds. So I hope this goes a ways into obviously tuning that up a little bit. So everyone's a human being in the team, and obviously no one tries to make mistakes. You just got to bounce back, I guess, and I think this is a good bounce back for the team, so we really need it. Yeah.
Sorry, this one's just for the whole panel. Would you guys be able to give an assessment on your positions leading into the final round of the Enduros?
Doggy.
Not your favourite position.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, I'm missionary.
You had one word, and that's what you chose to be.
Oh no, my
But guys, anyone?
Hey?
No, I didn't say
Anyone else got anything to add on that?
Probably best we don't. What do you mean?
Guys, be able to give
What do
us.
you mean by
Just how do you feel the standings are? How do you feel going into it?
Why don't we direct that at Shane and GT leading the Pertec Enduro Cup? There we go.
What are the points?
You and Jamie nip tuck, bit of a gap to the rest. Yeah. Go for it, Garth. By all means.
Yeah, I think, look, I thought Sandown had potential to be a bit of a dead rubber because of the way that the Enduro Cup's been structured this year with Bathurst first, Gold Coast, and then. But now, I think more focus will go on to the Enduro Cup, and obviously for us, we want to go there and have success. But we were second at Bathurst, a good haul of points here. The team was strong at Sandown last year, so yeah, just like every race, you go in there to win. Simple.
Shane, a couple final ones from me. You had your run-ins with Richie Stanaway this weekend. Any thoughts now that the relationship's come to an end at GRM?
Has it officially or just today?
Certainly today, a question mark for Sandown and Newcastle.
Yeah, I had some good chats with him the last few weeks, and then again told him to call me this week. Like, he's been through a tough few years, and you know he's probably a bit misunderstood in some ways publicly. He's a ripper of a kid, and you know what he went through in Europe, pretty isolated there when he broke his back and stuff. It's taken him a long time to recover from, but he's a star driver and probably hasn't had the right stuff to show his potential here, and obviously he's been frustrated by it. And you know, when you race in Europe and that, you don't do any media stuff. You just race the car and that's it. And that's, you know, a lot of your job here, and probably hasn't had the right training or right attitude for it, and that's reflected a bit. But yeah, for him, you take it at face value. It was a mistake of his this morning. Slept in thinking his signing was later, is what he said to me, and he said he's been putting in as much effort as possible. You know, his car was shunted by someone else. Yesterday's race, he got in, did the best job he could, 3 laps down, and still gets hammered for it. But you know, he's a ripper of a kid. I just hope he doesn't give up with his racing and keeps charging. You know, he's talented, but might take. I thought Gary would have been good for him, but he hasn't really moved forward. So yeah, I hope we all don't give up on him. He's a good kid.
Finally, good news. Scott McLaughlin, according to Ben Nightingale, has just recently been released and given the all clear, so that's good.
Yeah, his old man texted me before as well, so it's cool.
Thanks, guys. We'll see you at Sandown. Cheers.